Hey, welcome back here, everybody. And before we go too far and get a little bit into this lesson, what I want to go ahead and show you here is if you take a look here, we have 4 different eye textures that I've already gone ahead and created. I'm going to walk you guys through the process of creating these eye textures, but these are the ones that have already been made, and we're going to be using these for texture rigging our eyes. Okay, so let me go ahead and close that. And what I want to go ahead and do is we need to export our IUV here. So we can just come up here to our UV texture editor, make sure that we select our eye, select the UV, and then just go ahead and export that UV out. Okay, I've already gone ahead and done that. So I'm just going to go ahead and launch Photoshop here. Okay, I'll go ahead and open that UV eye texture, which will be here. Okay, if I go ahead and turn that on, here's our IUVs. To create our texture here, all I simply did was just drag in an eye texture, and to create this, those 4 different frames that I had in our source images directory, all I did was just throw a texture here on for our eye, come up here to adjustments, the hue and saturation, just change the hue to 4 different colors that I thought would actually work here, and then save them out here, and I'll show you what I mean. Let me go ahead and hit JPEG here. The important part here is the actual naming convention. So it's going to be clownfish eye texture underscore 000. So this is going to indicate the frames. This would be frame 0, this would be frame 1, the third one would be frame 2, and the fourth one would be frame 3. Okay, so with that understood, let's come back here and we'll go ahead and close Photoshop here. We'll jump into Maya. And what we need to do is we need to add another attribute here so that we can go ahead and change in between those eye textures. And I'm adding it on the eye controller because it's going to be controlling the textures of the eyes. Okay, so we'll come up here to modify, add attribute. This is going to be an enumerated value. And we'll call this the clownfish eye underscore colors. Okay. First thing that we need to do is we need to take this blue, delete the name, because we can't rename it the same thing. It would just cause problems. So we'll just call this green, and we'll just go ahead and rename this now as our blue. Take the green here, or the second one, call this green. The third one here we're going to go ahead and call purple. And I spelt that way wrong. And then we'll create a fourth one here, rename it as brown. So there you can see where our attribute gets added over here in the channel box. Okay. And we just need to open up our hypershade here. And we're going to go ahead and create a V-Ray material. And we also need to go ahead and bring in a file node. Okay, we're going to point this file node. Make sure I turn my filter type off there. To the clownfish eye underscore 000 JPEG. Okay, go ahead and point that. And we're going to plug that eye texture into the diffuse color slot here. So you can see where this gets changed. Let's go ahead and apply this to the model real quick. Both sides, since both sides are using the same texture, we'll go ahead and hit 6. And you can see that that eye texture comes in and gets updated there. Okay. Let's just adjust some of the attributes here. So the reflection color, I don't want pure white because this would be sort of cloudy whenever we would render it. So I'm going to turn it down to a little bit gray, but I'm also going to turn the amount here down to 0.25 should be fine. Turn the reflection subdivisions here to 15. Okay, and let's take a look at how we're going to go ahead and rig our eye texture. So we're going to be adjusting the image sequence here, but we're not going to turn this on yet because we need to make sure that we make all those connections before we turn this image sequence on. Okay, so the image number here. And what we need to do is make sure that we go into the set driven key window here. So I'm just going to select my eye controller, come up here to animate, set driven key set. We'll go ahead and load that eye controller as our driver. And let me just go ahead and move this over. We're going to load the file 1 here as our driven. And we're going to be running the frame extension. Okay, so we'll select our eye colors, select our frame extension. Just making sure that we, if I hit Control A here, turn that frame extension here to 0. Okay, select it. We'll go ahead and key it. Select our eye main. We're going to change the blue to green. File 1, frame extension 1. Go ahead and key that. Eye main. Green and purple. We'll go to purple there. Select the file 1, frame extension, set that as 2. Go ahead and key that. Eye main. Change this to brown. Change the file 1 here to frame extension 3. And there we'll go ahead and key that. Okay, so now whenever we turn the image sequence here on, it's going to get updated. And you're going to see where our, if I can turn the wireframe off here, you can see where our eye texture has actually changed. Let's just make sure that this works properly. So brown will go back to blue. There you can see that our eye texture has changed. And we want to make sure that we check them all here. Green, green, purple, purple. So our eye connections have been set up where we can now switch between the eye colors. And I'm just going to go ahead and turn this back to blue. Okay, so that's a way that we can set up so that our eye connections and our eye textures get updated, and we can change them inside of Maya. So in the next lesson, we'll go ahead and come back, and we will start on the process of texturing the body. So come on back, everybody.